Hello there YouTube, it's Gojira Prime with another Transformers video review, and today we're taking a look at a figure I've kind of been on the sidelines about getting for quite a while, but I finally decided to get him, and that is Transformers Power of the Primes Rodimus Prime. Now, this is a figure I ordered off TF Safari. They did have the figure up for sale, and I was able to get him at a fairly decent price, including shipping. The figure just arrived today. I've had a bit of a play with him, and I figured I'd get my review of this guy up as soon as possible. Now, we have the figure here in his Rodimus Prime vehicle mode, which is, I don't know, it's been called a Space Winnebago, I think, by a few people over the years. But it's kind of like, I suppose it's meant to be like a Cybertonian or Transformers transport vehicle of some sort. Now, this entire trailer section here, like with its Optimus Prime counterpart in the line, basically is just there to form the larger body section of Rodimus Prime in Super Robot mode. In the original 1980s version, which I did have as a little boy, the trailer actually opened up to form a kind of artillery piece, which was quite nice, actually, and would have been nice if this also did the same thing, but never mind, there we go. Just to go, in regard to the vehicle mode itself, I quite like this vehicle mode. It's quite a large vehicle mode. One thing I have noticed, though, about the figure is it's actually quite light. It's something I have noticed. It is quite a light figure. All in all, it's not a bad figure. I mean, there are some interesting discrepancies in paint color. The car, or the core robot, which forms this front section here, is a different shade of red to the trailer section. That's something I think a lot of people have noticed since this figure came out. But all in all, it's quite nice. It's got some nice molded detailing on the side panels here. We have two different types of wheels. We have the ones which are just pegged in here on the core figure, and these ones here on the back of the trailer section as well. You can place his two guns on the top of the trailer section here. And then we also have these kind of like silver metallic smokestacks that run here. It does also come with a small Autobot logo at the front, and then flame decals on either side. It would have been nice if maybe the decals, I think, weren't as glossy as they are, and if they matched a bit more with the actual color of the plastic, but it's not an absolute, deal breaker of a thing. But all in all, I quite like the vehicle mode. It's very close, really, to what Rodimus Prime looked like in the original series, in my opinion. It's not a bang-on 100%, but it's a good modern-day interpretation of Rodimus Prime in his larger vehicle mode. Unfortunately, you can see the fists for the Super Robot mode at the front here. It would have been nice if they did have some sort of coverings just to hide them from sight, but again, it's not a deal breaker at the end of the day. Now, this figure does technically have four different modes. It has the Super Vehicle, the Rodimus Prime Vehicle mode, which we see here. It has the Hot Rod Vehicle mode, Hot Rod as a robot, and Rodimus, the Super Rodimus Prime mode. Now, in order to transform him into the Hot Rod Vehicle mode, it's very, very simple. All you basically do is just lift the smokestacks up on either side of the vehicle. You then flip open these side panels here, and then you just detach the robot or the core mode from that section there. We'll just put the trailer over to there, and then you've got the car like this, and then all you just do is you just close in these sections here, and there you have the Hot Rod car mode. Now, this is actually quite a good modern representation of the original Hot Rod. I've had a look at the pictures of the original toy from the 1980s, and this is a pretty good representation of Hot Rod as a vehicle. Again, it feels very, very light for some reason. I don't know why. Now, unfortunately, when you flip them upside down, plenty of robot kibble to be seen there. But again, when you've got him down like that on the ground, you're not really going to see any of that in place. Now, just to do a very quick comparison, this, there's the Power of the Primes Hot Rod. Here is the Transformers Classics Hot Rod, which I did a video review of a while back. And this one's a lot more angular than this one. This one's very curved, very, meant to be a much more modern day interpretation. This is leaning more towards the 1980s aesthetics of the character. But, the Power of the Primes version is larger. And this one, the Classics figure, feels heavier than this one as well. But you can see, you've got the flame decaling at the front with the Autobot logo. This version did not come with an Autobot logo at the front. I had to put a sticker on there in order to solve that little issue. But, I actually do prefer this version, the Power of the Primes version. I think it's a much nicer interpretation of Hot Rod as a vehicle. So they're about the same size, Classics-wise, size-wise, sorry. So this, if you didn't know any better, this would be a deluxe class toy. But I'll show you in a moment when I put them in robot mode just how much bigger this guy is. So, he rolls very nicely. But like I say, they're about the same size, lengthwise. But what I'll do is I'll get both of them transformed into robot mode, and then we'll do a comparison in robot mode, and then I'll get him into his super robot mode as well. Okay, so here we have Rodimus transformed into his core robot mode. Now I just want to go through this core robot before I do some size comparisons with it and some other figures, and then I'll get him into his super robot mode. Now I have to admit, I really, really do like this core robot mode. I think it's brilliant. I really, really do. It's a really good modern update of the character of Rodimus. And I say Rodimus because, it looks like Rodimus. Hot Rod was a pinkier shade of red for the most part. And if we just come into the face sculpt, in the show, the original 1980 show, Hot Rod was essentially a young adult, late teens, early 20s, if you will. And Rodimus was the much more grown-up version. This head sculpt does not strike me as a young adult. It strikes me as a much more seasoned individual. So this, to me, is not Hot Rod, even though you can form Hot Rod's car mode with it. This, to me, is Rodimus, and I think it looks really, really, really good. The arms are a little maybe disproportionate, but it's not a bad thing. My only real complaint about this robot mode is the arms. Here you have his hands, which are almost completely overshadowed by the exhausts that do form the part of his lower arm. So it would have been nice to have hands that you can articulate a little bit, but, again, it's not a big issue. The only other issue I have really is this thing. The windscreen does go below the waist, so you can see it when you do have him standing up. But again, it's a very minor issue in what I think is a really, really good robot mode. You've got the stickers on his arms up here and on the lower legs here, and then the rest is just orange, yellow, red, and black plastic. But all in all, I really, really like this robot mode. I really, really do. I like it a lot more than what I thought I did. Just to get up on the face sculpt again. There we go. You know, it looks really, really nice. So yeah, I'm very, very pleased with that. Now, as a quick comparison, here he is next to his Classics counterpart again, and you can see the height difference between this figure, if I can get him to stand up properly. Oops, it would help if I had his legs out properly, and then he would stand. There we go. So this is Classics Deluxe Rodimus, as they called him back then, or Hot Rod really. And this is the Power of the Primes version. And you can see the height difference. He really is actually quite large. So although you can form the Hot Rod vehicle with this guy, which takes him down to like a deluxe vehicle size, in robot mode, he's a lot bigger. He's actually Voyager size, really. So that's a hell of an increase. So, you know, I do actually have the Studios 66, sorry, not Studios 66, the Studios 86 Hot Rod on pre-order. So I'll be interested to see how that scales with this figure. Because what I'll probably end up doing is I'll have this guy as my Rodimus Prime, and then this guy, unfortunately, will get, you know, sent to the storage box somewhere, and have the Studios Hot Rod as my Hot Rod if it's about the same size. So, you know, bit of a height difference there. Just as a comparison with some other figures, here he is with Brawn, Legends Class Brawn from the Titans Returns line. Here he is with a more modern deluxe figure, Tiger Tracks from the Selects line. And again, quite a height difference. So this is a Voyager-sized robot that forms a deluxe-sized vehicle somehow, which is quite interesting. And then as a final comparison in this mode, here he is with Earthrise Optimus Prime. And you can see he's not as tall head-wise Prime. He, you know, just a bit taller than Optimus's chin, maybe. But, you know, clearly this is a Voyager-class figure at the end of the day. So, yeah, this will be my Rodimus Prime. So I'll just get the figure transformed again into its Super Robot mode, and then we'll do some more comparisons. Okay, so now we've got Rodimus transformed into his Super Robot mode. And I say Super Robot mode because that's essentially what this is. Or it's an attempt at a super robot mode. The core figure, which now forms the chest and the arms of this mode, is Rodimus Prime, essentially. And then this, to me, is his super upgraded form, like what you get with the Power of the Prime, the Select Star Convoy. You get the core robot, and then you get the super robot mode with the trailer. Now, this mode for the figure is actually my least favorite mode. I won't be displaying him a lot in this particular mode. It's okay, don't get me wrong. It's not a bad attempt at a super Rodimus Prime, but I do have some issues with it. For starters, we'll just go around the figure. I mean, the head sculpt on it is actually quite nice. It's an even more grizzled, aged version of Rodimus. I'm not too keen how... I mean, my biggest complaint with the whole thing, the arms here are okay. I mean, these are actually the legs of the figure itself. of the core robot. So you've actually got his legs here splayed out like this. Then you attach some additional segments to him. The feet are a little bit flimsy on mine, especially here on the ankles, but it's not too bad. My big complaint, however, is this excess backpack on the rear here. It's not too bad. Obviously, when you've got him displayed like this, you can't really see it, but you know it's there at the end of the day. It's not a bad super robot mode, but it's not a great super robot mode either. I mean, if you actually lift his arms up, you can actually see his little core robot hands there as well. But all in all, it's not bad. It's just my feet are a little bit flimsy, and the articulation on the arms is good. You can get some decent movement with him there. But again, you got to watch it with those feet because they do just give up. Leg articulation in super robot mode is pretty good. Well, you got to move that bit there to get any kind of leg movement there. And he does have movement at the knees there as well. That was his gun, sorry, by the way. It does split apart into two sections. So it's not a bad attempt at a super robot mode, but I think it could have been done a bit better. Or maybe just, not done at all and just given the core robot mode and a trailer that was like the original G1 trailer. But all in all, it's not too bad. So just as a size comparison, here he is again with Classics Rodimus. Quite a bit larger now. Here he is again with Tiger Tracks. And here he is with Brawn. So quite a sizable height increase there. Here he is next to, again, Earthrise Optimus Prime. Again, bit of a height increase. And here he is next to my Transformers Selects Star Convoy. Now, obviously, this is a repaint and remold of the Power of the Primes Optimus Prime figure that we had when this one came out as well. And this is my favorite, this is my much preferred version of that mold, simply because the core robot is so much better. But these two look all right next to each other, actually, I have to admit, in their super robot modes. I kind of get the idea that Hasbro Takara was trying to emulate this picture I saw way back of a Super Robot Mode Rodimus and Super Robot Mode Optimus. I don't know who did the artwork, but it was this really nice piece of artwork that's circulating around somewhere on the internet. And I kind of get the impression that's what they were trying to do here, maybe with Rodimus. Give him a Super Robot Mode to make it compatible or comparable, with Optimus Prime. Obviously, you can't compare Rodimus to Optimus at the end of the day, but there you go. But, it's not too bad. So, is Power of the Primes Rodimus Prime worth the money? I think it is. If not for the Super Robot mode, then for the core robot and the trailer section that you can combine with it, I think it is worth it for a Rodimus Prime, which this figure is. Obviously, we have the new Hot Rod coming out fairly soon with the Studio Series, but if you want a Rodimus figure, it is worth it. Just don't bother with the Super Robot mode maybe, and just stick to the core robot figure. I got mine for about £30, I think, off TF Safari. So if you are looking to get a decently priced one, that's not a bad place to start. Maybe you can find something cheaper on eBay if you're lucky, but I very much doubt it. There is another version of this guy out as well, which is his Unicron corrupted form. A black version of this, so kind of like a shattered glass version of Rodimus Prime. But all in all, I'm very happy with the figure. I think it is very, very nice. I like the 2 vehicle modes. I love the core robot mode, and I'm okay with the super robot mode. So if you can get him, I think he's worth getting. Just, at a decent price. But yeah, I think I'm very happy with him. I'm very glad I got him. And I'll be putting him on my shelf with my other Transformers the movie figures. So that's my review of Rodimus Prime from the Power of the Primes line. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe, comment below, and thank you very, very much.